It is April 2019, a Saturday, a white sky day. I don't like white skies. I'd rather it be a stormy day with lots of clouds. I love clouds. Or a crisp blue sky day. However, it is white out, so I'm going to make use of the time. Have you heard of the trifecta? It relates to Back to the Future. I hope if you're listening to this, you are old enough to remember the movie Back to the Future. Well, I experience what I like to call the trifecta, and I'm going to explain that. 1. I'm an old soul, and it has caused significant depression in my life. 2. Being an old soul, I relate to an older generation, usually, unless you're a young person with an old soul. And I have a strong affinity for bygone eras, especially World War II, anywhere actually, even World War I, but strongly World War II up until the Vietnam War. I know I lived before, and it can be painful sometimes. I don't remember specific facts, but this coldness will move through me at times. If I read a passage in a book or I watch something related to that time frame, it's this entity moves inside me. I can feel it. And it's not frightening, but it's overwhelming. And it moves me to cry. It's that overpowering. And then it passes through, just like a spirit. Third, going back to the trifecta, third, in case you didn't know, or if you've watched other videos that I've made, I am a hybrid. I prefer that term, but what I mean is I was born female and became male at the age of 20. I am now, I like to say 67. I look great for 67, don't I? I'm not quite that old yet. Moving right along. So, the trifecta. Those three elements have caused immense grief in my life. I mean, overall, I have been fortunate. I've had the support, the emotional support of my family, namely my mom and my sister. My mother, oh my gosh, can you fault someone for loving you too much? She cares far too much. But I want to bring your attention, if you are at all curious about my life and being transgender as they say these days, this is my book. It is called, in case you can't read, or maybe you're just listening to this, Who Has Known Heights? The title explains itself in the first page. It is available on Amazon. It's 3 books in one. It's a Bildungsroman, and what I mean by that is Bildungsroman is a coming-of-age story. This is an autobiography. However, the last 30 pages are fictionalized, and you will understand why when you finish the book. And it chronicles growing up and everything that happened with coming to terms, who I am, and it is literary fiction. So it's not exactly, the type of book that you just sit down and blow through. It will resonate with you, and you need to take time, and I want to read you a passage from it to entice you. This is from part 3, the high school years. I would rather not bring attention to those 4 wasted years. High school. An exercise in denial, sadness, pathetic drollery. Strong character manifests gradually. I had nowhere to turn but inward. I was passive, preoccupied, cut off. My strength hung on the evening star, even though the morning star burned bright. Patience forced oldness upon me, Endurance and silence gave me strength. That short interval wrapped around my persona so tightly that the discontent became me. The tendrils of unspent youth arrested me in a state of despair, longing, and unanswered speculation. Those were the lost years, the days of no one and nothing but myself, and a hope so strong, a resolve so patient, hanging on the notion that one day I would be liberated from my body, and that liberation was the key to happiness. Foolish youth that I was. I was not ready to become a man. I wanted to be a boy. But childhood was gone. I lived in a fantasy. I will not waste much time here, because the past is done with, unalterable, but the events bear evidence to what came after. In that interval intended for self-exploration and the examination of the body, I looked out the window and studied the seasons. I loved spring, and in March I would press my face near the screen, late at night or in the evening, smell the cold air and listen for the first cricket. But I also hated spring. I dreaded the rising temperatures, the humidity, the still closeness of endless days. It was not the heat I hated. It was what it represented. In my flannel jacket, dark shirt, and loose jeans, I would feel swaddled, conspicuous, layered in concealment. In an effort to hide my body, I succeeded in standing out. And so it was fall that I cherished most. I could smell its approach on an early September afternoon, that crisp coolness. The sun made the late afternoon shadows sharper and colors distinctly laden with impending color. In the fall, I was safe. So that is from Who Has Known Heights. That is my grandfather clock in the background. It has been a backdrop throughout my life, a sentry, S-E-N-T-R-Y, kind of like a presence, a guard in my life, a metronome. So that's what I want to leave you with. If I can be of some help to anyone out there struggling with depression, then please send me a message. Before you decide to off yourself, come find me. Let's hang out. Let's talk. Because I know what that's like to be on death's door. And you have to remind yourself of this. Most of the time, you want to escape the pain. You don't really want to die. I know this from experience. Your mind is hijacked. And yes, there are many causes of depression, but if you are suffering, really suffering from it, I would recommend this. 1, examine your diet. Are you deficient in any vitamins? That can make a huge difference, namely vitamin D, vitamin D is in David, or vitamin B is in boy. Also, look at your exercise. Are you exercising at all? And then from there, you branch out and, look at events that have happened in your life, traumatic events. It takes excruciating patience, but you have to ask yourself this. What is the alternative? Do you want to go along and struggle? Is that really a quality of life, just getting by? No. It's complacency, and that is not okay in my book. I have experienced times where depression laid me flat, and over the years I've learned that the worst thing you can do when it hits you is to resist it, or to get upset, or to say, gosh, why is this happening again? I don't need this. I know these are words, but Lean into it, as they say, and do not resist it when it comes, and then it'll pass. And until you can level the depression, that's what you need to do. I will make another video about depression. I keep saying depression. Gosh, that's depressing. But if you're really struggling, just do that for the moment. And get my book, please. I'm also writing another one, and I will be reading from that as well. I have spent years hiding, and it's time to reach out to others. Helping others helps myself, and I firmly believe we are on this earth to recognize each other in others. On that note, take care.